Bringing you the voice and vision of custom culture and lifestyle, as seen through the eyes of this South Texas duo. Welcome to the Custom Couple.
Welcome to another episode of the Custom Couple. Today we got Rob on the mic with us, and we're going to talk about some freaking motorcycles. So what's going on, Rob?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Rigid Rob. For some of y'all follow me on Instagram, part of the Two Wheel Get Down. Doing good. Made my trip down here to the southwest side of town. We were just talking about people who come from out of town.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, and traveling within San Antonio, sometimes it feels like you're from out of town. Yeah. No, we totally get that. We don't honestly get a whole lot of people to the southwest side of town, so it's awesome. Come hang out in the house with us and record some podcasts.
Well, that's rad.
Let's jump into it. Talk about the Two Wheel Get Down?
Yeah, Two Wheel Get Down. That's it's kind of like a motorcycle page. We were going to do a big show based off of it. So we started having our bike nights roughly about 2 years ago, 2019. And then people would just see it on my page. It was just under my page. And people were like, you don't have a page for a name? And I said, I never thought about it. I just, I know everybody who shows up. So it's like, why do I need it?
Right,
so then we got strangers. And the strangers were like, seen, and then they would message me like it's gonna happen. And sorry for y'all listening out there, seriously. Like,
you're all friends now.
We're all good now. But at the beginning it was a little overwhelming.
It was the whispers. They're like, who's that? I don't know. Do you know who that is?
Well, you know what? If anybody, thank my wife, because my wife would make me go tell everybody thank you for showing up like a kid. Like I had to go shake hands and thank everybody for showing up.
You're gonna write a nice card.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we went to.
Thank them for their present.
I always tell her that. I was like, why do you always make me tell everybody? No, so they come to the next one. And then most people, if you guys ever show up, most people tell you, like, he actually comes and tells you hello. Like, yeah.
You know what? That is a big deal. And of course it takes our wives to like make us realize that sometimes. But folks dig the hell out of that. Like they really do. Like I know a lot of times I've gone to car shows where, it is like a kind of like a small setting of, a homely feel to it. And the people that are putting on the show are out in the mix of things, and they're shaking hands and they're talking to everybody. And, it always feels good to be included in, when you're an outsider.
Yeah.
That's really rad.
Yeah, that's really true, because I've been to different bike nights and I've been to different shows, and sometimes you don't even know who's throwing it. Like, they have one every month, and for the longest time we had no idea who the hell it was. We just knew at the Dirty Sanchez bar. Mm-hmm. And then we realized it was the same guy doing it over and over with his wife. So now we know.
So you started doing these bike nights. Like, what? For one, let's roll way back. Okay. What got you onto two wheels in the first place?
Real simple, guys. The cars. I love old cars. Love hot rods, customs. We've known each other for years. I started out with cars. I just hated doing the mechanics on it. I mean, seriously, 4 wheels, 4 wheel cylinders, 4 brakes, 4 everything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Especially when you get a car, you want to do the V8, because the V8 is where it's at, right? The power.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so here you are, big old motor. And then one time, and I credit my brother. My brother, he bought a motorcycle. I was probably roughly around 18 years old. And I was just slowly weaning off the cars. I'd been working on them. He bought one, brought it home. He's all, look what I got. It was a Harley Davidson. I was like, oh, cool. And when you think of Harley Davidsons, you think of old men. And you're like,
that's exactly what I was about to say. You think about the 45, 50-year-old man just in the one that looks like a tricycle. Mm-hmm. And just that's what they want.
Well, we think about the Hell Yeah Brothers. Those guys, the ones with the shirts with no sleeves and all that stuff. We're oh, God. So we saw his motorcycle, and I was like, wow, it was amazing. And then roughly around that time, I don't know if y'all remember, the Biker Build-Off shows came on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then just looking at him, be like, oh, wow, outside of those fat, ugly choppers, some dudes were building really cool, skinny tire choppers, things like that. It just roughly, that point, the creativity started. So after he got one, of course, like a copycat brother that I am, I went and I got one.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how it is with old cars too. Your friend gets one, you get one.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I've told that story a bunch of times. You know, one of the guys in my band got a car and I wanted it. And I was like, oh well, all right, thanks for buying the car I wanted out from under me. But yeah, I give them crap about it all the time.
Yeah.
But then the following week, I went and got one.
Yeah. So I met a guy through a friend who said, I have a motorcycle for sale in my garage. Wasn't in his garage. It was in his shed. It was a 1970 Harley Davidson Iron Tip. Never worked on one before, ever. And my brother, he had a newer one. So then I bought it from the guy. Turns out it was in a shed. It wasn't in a garage. He said it ran like a year ago. It hadn't ran like in 15 years ago. And that's when the love affair started. Learning how to be broken down on the side of the road when everybody's going. You know, it's no different than cars.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's where I got all of my mechanic knowledge, was on the side of I-35.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say. It's, you know what? And this is like pre-YouTube and like really pre-like Google. So whatever you took off is what I've learned. Is like what you take off, you just put it back the way you found it.
Dude, my mom would give my one of my older brothers, he was always into motorcycles, and my mom would give him the just hell all the time and just talk shit about him all the time. About every time he'd take apart his motorcycle, he'd put it back together and he'd end up with like a bucket full of parts that didn't get back onto the bike.
That's
somehow.
how it starts. You know, like that's how it starts. And then as the year go by, you're like, oh, wait a second. I can't have this many parts left over. I've learned that. Like now it's like, if I see like an extra screw, I start freaking out. I'm like, where's this from? Where'd it come from?
Yeah, something's going to leak right now.
Yeah.
So no, man, we were talking too, like the whole getting into like the love of cars and the love of bikes and this whole culture. It's very heavily surrounded by the music that we grew up on and the music that we're into now.
Yep.
You know, going out to a lot of like the local shows and stuff, you would see guys driving their cool cars to these shows, and you know, you'd see guys pull up on badass fucking motorcycles. And
yeah, that's so true.
As a teenage kid, you're like, yeah, punk rock, but then you like look over and be like, that's freedom right there.
Exactly. When we were like. Exactly. We were like 15, 16. You go to the rockabilly shows and some dudes had those cool old cars. You're like cars from the 40s, the 50s, the 30s. And then some dudes will roll in their choppers and you're like, oh, wow. Yeah. And then here you come in like a Honda.
Or you get dropped off by your mom.
You get dropped off, right?
You go park super far away. Like when the crow was open and had all that parking lot, you park far away so nobody can see you. I'll see y'all later. I'm going to
like, did you drive here? Like, no, I'm good.
I'm good. Everybody else leave.
Yeah.
like when we used to go to shows at Sam's Burger joint, we'll park under the
bridge. Yeah, park under the bridge where you can't see me.
All the cool shit gets to park up front. We'll park under the bridge.
So then at that point is when I bought a motorcycle. I was like, well, if I just do little things to the motorcycle, it'll look cool and maybe I could park up front. And it worked that way.
That's Absolutely. How it works.
Yeah. I mean, look at the movie Crybaby, right? Like, so he's got this badass fucking shoebox, yeah. And he's cruising that and they're all singing, doing their doo-wop shit, right? But he gets home and they give him a motorcycle. And that he was so ecstatic about the motorcycle. I'm like, damn, like, they really do go hand in hand.
It took a lot of hubcaps for that.
Yeah.
Love it.
They go hand in hand. Like for instance, if you look at motorcycles, choppers, any of that, they take their influence from the lowriders. Mm-hmm. Like you see all the same paint schemes.
Oh yeah.
From lowriders. Like you'll see the flaked out. You'll see everything, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like talking like to some custom painters, like they love painting motorcycles because there's not as much to have to fucking paint.
Oh yeah, you can put it all on one table. You don't have to work. That's what I noticed.
Hell yeah. So you started doing the bike nights.
Yes.
And then you also do your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Anybody out there, Rigid Rob Rides, please subscribe. It'll help out. I'm not getting paid for it, but still subscribe. All right, that's all we ask.
What's the gist of the YouTube channel? It's just like you in the garage.
Yeah, me in the garage. What happened was I would do all these events. Like I told you, I'd have a bike night, group ride. I'm horrible about taking pictures. Horrible. Like unbelievable because it's when I get there, it's for me, it's more like a job, but I'm having fun. I got to make sure everything's good. So then I said, I need to record stuff so I can remember. And then in the moment, we didn't have anything going. Like our season kind of had winded down. So I said, well, I'm working on motorcycles. Why don't I just record this? And as lame as it sounded, I was like, I'm going to try it. And then like, maybe like I'll look back at it and be like, okay, I actually did that. And that's pretty much been the gist of it. Like I've been restoring a couple bikes. I've been trying to get out to more shows, take footage, things like that. And that was the gist behind it.
Do you have like a direction that you want it to go in or some goals in mind that you want to do?
I want to be Joe Rogan cash, first of all.
100%.
Right? That's where I'm going. If anybody asks me.
Joe Rogan, if you're listening to this podcast, for one, we appreciate it. But
two, we're coming after you.
Like we definitely are coming after you. Yeah. You and the fucking aliens.
Right. That's exactly what it is. No, like it's just, you know what? One dude having fun, just riding motorcycles. And if you learn something along the way, and like I tell everybody in the videos where, just so y'all know, I'm not a certified Harley technician. So don't be coming at me and telling me, hey, you need to know how to fix this right and do it like that. No, I'm like everybody else in the garage. We're going to half-ass it and get it right.
We're going to figure it out as we go.
Exactly.
But you know what? Like it takes that. It in this whole culture, you know, I've had several conversations with people where it's like, I'm not the professional, but this is how I did it. Mm-hmm. And somebody else will come in and say, oh, well, you could do it that way, but if you also added this step to the process, it would be even better. You know, it takes those kind of initiatives. You know, you go out there and say, hey, you know, I'm doing this. Watch what I do on this video. You might get somebody pop up on there and leave you some comments.
Yeah.
And it could be positive. It could be negative, but it all, you know, it pushes you in a direction.
That's what I tell everybody. Like, even in the video, I say, leave a comment, whether it's good or bad. Even if it's bad, like, I get it. Like, I can always improve anything I'm doing. Like, who can't, right?
Sure.
I mean, especially, like, for instance, like you guys, y'all work on the old cars. Like, you're going to take shortcuts. You're going to do what it takes to get it done and get it running. You know, because the end goal on any vehicle is let's get it running.
Let's get it running and driving.
Let's drive it somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what we started, you know, realizing, not lately, but more often, is that, you know, everyone has their own interpretation of what they think is a perfect car.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not what mine is. As long as it runs and drives, I don't care what's underneath it. I don't care any of it. It needs to just run and drive.
As long as it runs, drives, and stops.
Yeah, I think the first car show I took my Thunderbird to, it was at the Caliente Harley Davidson show. Yeah. Oh my God. They were like, oh, can you lift the hood? No. Mm-hmm. I don't know whose car that is. I would walk away.
We're not lifting any hoods around here, first off.
It's locked. It's locked.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see that.
That's how we are about the bikes. Like, it's really funny. Like, I would just thrash them and like ride them hard and be like, hey man, it's dirty, it's ugly, but you know, whatever.
It's fun.
Yeah, like at least I got to ride it while you were at home cleaning it. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she took her Thunderbird and I took the Plymouth that we used to have, and you know, on like pulling into the parking lot, the Plymouth is like overheating and I'm like, fuck it, I made it.
Yeah. That's why I don't do cars anymore, because
like
of the overheating.
Out everything.
No.
It's leaking everything. We're like, we're just gonna leave it here.
I can leak oil. That's no problem. But once you start overheating, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and like on bikes, I mean, you're used to that. You don't have a radiator on a bike.
That's why I'm like, oh, I leak oil. It's fine. People be like, hey, you were leaking oil. Like, don't worry, it gets worse. You know. But with the cars, you overheat. I'm like,
that's it.
Uh-oh. Like, nothing good's gonna come out of that.
Game over.
Yeah. No, you leak oil. When you stop leaking oil, that just means you're empty.
Empty, right? Yeah. I think with motorcycles though, it's kind of funny because the carburetors, unlike cars, they have the floats in the bottom, so they get stuck. And what happens once they get like really stuck, then they start leaking gas. And your thought process is like, please don't fall on the exhaust. I don't need to catch fire. Like, get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So those are the only things you got to watch out. So we don't overheat. We just leak gas.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
After a while, they'll get stuck, and then you'll see it come out. And that's just what you really want to do is actually work on it, hit it with a hammer. You know, freeze up.
Free it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, free it up because you don't want to be that guy at the show.
Yeah, so if you're riding down 410 and you see Rob smacking his carburetor with a wrench, while he's driving, he's just trying to get that carburetor to not be leaking gas.
Leaking gas. That's the only thing. That's one thing I have learned now. It's before in the past where, hey, we're just going to ride to the show and whatever it is, it is. Now I'm like, if I'm leaking gas, I better pull over.
I need to stop now.
Yeah.
So what has been what's been the sketchiest?
Sketchiest? Oh God, man. I was into choppers for a long time. That's what I was working on thing. So not too long ago, a couple of years ago, I had just finished off a brown one. Real like nice 6-over front end. If y'all don't know what that is, that's actually a semi-Springer, real long, narrow, skinny front end. Now that thing was sketchy. Like I could make great left turns. Right turns were horrible. But I like it real skinny, and I put a lowbrow Wassel tank, which was like maybe I can only get like 45 to 50 gallon. So, and no gas gauge because we don't put any of that on there.
No, it's extra.
Yeah, it's like whatever doesn't fit in the pocket doesn't need to go. So here I am, not being able to make a turn, hauling ass, and then just running out of gas consistently. You're like not even knowing. You're in the middle of the freeway. You're like, hey, this doesn't sound good.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
Yeah, we sketchiest, man. Like, well, they've all been kind of sketchy, but I've seen it all. I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, everything from bikes where the wheel hubs are coming out, axles are flying, things like that. Bad brakes. That's always worse. I mean, only good thing about a motorcycle is you can shift down and it kind of slows it down a bit.
Yeah.
Because they're standard.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad though. I mean, you never want your brakes to go out.
I'm learning so much stuff about bikes. I'm like, that's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. I tell everybody, get one. And everybody says the same thing. Like, oh, they're dangerous. Like, you know what's dangerous? The car could be just as dangerous.
The car can be just as bad.
It's just the drivers in San Antonio are freaking dangerous.
The worst.
It doesn't matter, car or bike, either one. Sam's mom and her husband, they both ride.
They both have their own Harleys. For the longest time, they're like, Sam, get your license, then you can drive it. I was like, I'm fine. I'll wait.
Give it a go, man. You might love it. It might free you up, and you might think like, okay, this is cool. This is something I can do on my day off when nobody's around.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's always that guy that wants to like just get out away from town and go cruise. And that's the perfect, like the Texas Hill Country is probably the most awesome thing to ride on a bike.
To ride. Mm-hmm.
I've done it in cars.
Yep.
But I can
imagine how it is on a bike.
In the bike, it's amazing. It's free. It's open. You can feel the wind more than any of that. I mean, it's just really cool. You go in the hills, can't see anything. I think the only thing is when you get hit by bugs. At least in the car, you're not worried about that.
Well, I did notice that you had the full face.
Yeah. That's called learning, people. Those bugs they don't care.
So have you ever so you do the group rides?
Yes.
Have y'all ever gone out to like the Three Sisters?
We have. Best way to put it is we do our group rides. We never know who's going to show up. We have the diehards who show up at the beginning, and those dudes are like, I'll get on, rip, I don't care. We're going wherever we're going. Like, I'll follow. Good. And then the next time or later on, we'll end up getting the new riders. Mm-hmm. And God bless them, man. I swear to God. Like, they go slow. What should have taken like an hour is now 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You stop at a gas station and you're like, nobody take their helmets off because this isn't going to work. Everybody takes their helmet off. But we do. We head out to Twist Sisters. We go out by Medina Lake. We go out by Green River Road. That. We follow the river down. We, not too long ago, we did a hood ride, which was in the middle of the town. And I'll never forget that because that was probably the wildest one. Unbelievable. We started down the street here at Caliente, and we went all the way through downtown because our end game was to go have tacos. Like we were going to have beers and tacos. And then somewhere along the line, we stop at Brackenridge Park. And somebody says, let's drink beer at Brackenridge Park. Fine, anything goes at these things. And then after that, everybody's talking. And I guess all these dudes know how to ride. We all been riding for years. So they're like, hey, at the end, let's go all out to the taco place. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we want to go fast. We're tired of just going in a straight line. It's fine. So we only do this with our like people who know how to ride.
The more experienced.
Yeah, because at the end it's called all out assault. Everybody's doing 90 to 100 on the freeway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anybody listening want to come on that group ride? We can use you. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go borrow my mom and Jesse's bike because they don't ever drive them. They've been sitting for years. They're beautiful bikes. I cannot tell you anything about
turn off the gas.
But they are absolutely beautiful. They're wrapped up. They're underneath the porch. Always been taken care of. My mom met my stepdad. He was a big Harley driver, and then she got into it. And my mom used to be friends with one of the main bike clubs here that's been around for years. I won't say it because then she'll kill me. But she used to hang around them. So I've always seen bikes. I've always been around them. I've always liked them. And I'm like, oh. And I've told him a couple times, I was like, maybe I want to do it just for fun. Just for fun.
And there's like one of those like weekend schools right up here.
Yeah.
It's not a school, but there's
the
people
riding
teaching
academy.
them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it in the parking lot of the church up here. And I'll go get tacos on Sunday morning. I'll see all the
new ones,
new guys
with their
learning.
giant UFO helmets.
Yeah,
huge.
I'm thinking it's like, man, in the apocalypse, I might need to know how to ride a bike. I might go take that class just so I know.
Shoot. Hey, sometimes you don't even need the class because a lot of us learn. Like we got on the bike and we had to ride it home. And if you want to know how I got like the third bike I ever got. I had a 58 Chevy truck that I was telling you about. Mm-hmm. And then I met this guy on Craigslist. Mm-hmm. You want to know where this is going. Right? I met the guy on Craigslist.
You're missing a kid.
Yeah. Now it's for sale on the internet. No, we went to, he lived in Converse. Anybody who knows where Converse is at, that's kind of far.
Yeah.
And this guy, he had a shovel head. And he was all like, I just need like a truck just to ride around, an old car. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's all like, would you be interested in trading? I have a shovel head, and I always wanted a shovel head. I thought that was like the pinnacle of bikes. Mm. I show up in my 58 Chevy truck. It's raining outside. And he's all like, well, if you want to trade, we'll trade. I said, okay, that's cool. And then like I was thinking to myself, I was like, I better trade now because if I don't know how to do it, like he's gonna turn back and change his mind. In the middle of the rain, barely know how to ride a bike. I get on the shovel and I just ride it all the way to downtown.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like learning how to shift, learning how to do things along the way because that's an older bike. It was kickstart only, so he's all like, "Do you know how to kickstart?" Yeah, I seen it on TV. Everybody, I seen it on TV. It works great.
But I'm not a bike guy normally. Like I know very little, but I do know that it's funny to see people that don't know how to kickstart.
Yep.
And they just sit there and they just kick and kick and kick, and it's like, no, don't you have to have it up on like the compression stroke before you give it that full kick?
You gotta prime it. You gotta have compression. You gotta have it ready to stay still. And trust me, I've been a victim at shows. You used to go park at shows, and you're all of a sudden a whole group comes around. And you're like, great.
Oh no!
Now I gotta pray that I get it done in 3 kicks and not 10.
Because you get your man card.
Here's all the judgment.
Yes, I got all the eyes of judgment coming around me, looking at me. And then people are trying to give you pointers like, you're going to want to do it like this. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Leave me alone. You're making it worse.
Yeah,
I'm going to want to do it by myself is what I'm going to want to do.
That's what I tell everybody. Like whenever I see somebody kicking, like, don't look at them. Just look the other way.
Yeah. That's just like when somebody's leaving a car show and they can't get it started. It's like... You're gonna flood it. I don't need you to talk to me right now.
Yeah,
you are the first person that's gonna get punched.
That's exactly how it goes, right? I remember the car shows. You would flood the car, like, please leave me alone. Like, it'll start. You're just praying that it'll start.
You just talk to it.
So do you need to jump? No, I need you to leave.
Right. Oh, the lights are still on. So,
I know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So what do you got coming up with the bike nights?
May 22nd, we have a bike night. We will be at Lighthouse Lounge. That's where we've been having them. Now that this wave, I think we're going to be at Lighthouse Lounge, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have a full-blown. It'll be on a Saturday, so that way people can drink, have a good time. And then they're off Sunday. We have one there, and then I believe the following month, we're at Lonesome Rose for another bike night. Yeah. We have just different spots that we travel throughout town. The one in May 22nd, that's like supposed to be, we're going to really go all out for it. Mm-hmm. Usually when we go all out for it, I have a buddy who helps me out a lot with this. His name is Boogeyman Joe, if you're listening. Mm-hmm. I mentioned you.
Shout out.
Yes.
Shout out to Boogeyman Joe.
He's a good dude. Most people know him. Yeah. He helps me out. We do the flyers together because he used to get tired of me doing my goofy flyers. I just like things to be funny, man. Like, we take ourselves too serious.
Hell yeah. Whenever we create flyers, it's like probably like some like shitty John Waters movie, like, you know, transvestites on it.
Look at the one I made you for your show. I was like, this looks cool.
Yeah, exactly. I used to do dumb stuff. I would do Dumb and Dumber where they're on the mini bike. That way I was like, this will catch people's attention.
Like, what is that?
I was like, right on down to Bike Nate.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any like mopeds show up to your show?
I've had one.
One?
One.
We've had
was
one.
brave
Thank God.
enough.
I was very brave. The one, and if you're listening, I'm sorry, dudes. No bicycles. Oh my God.
What?
People see the bicycle thing and they see the bike night. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to show this guy my pack of bicycles."
Really?
You have people on bicycles
I have
show
people
up.
message me like, "Hey, can my bicycle club?" They're not going to be mentioned because I don't want you guys to.
Yeah, of course. Never.
Yeah. They'll message. They'll be like, "Hey, can we go and ride?" And they wear full vest and everything. And can we park? And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "That's not going to work out." And I try to be polite. I'm like, "Yeah, that's not a good deal." Like,
Of course.
it's just some people are not going to be into it.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's just, I mean, we've gone through that in like some of the car culture too. It's like, what a lot of folks, custom cars, a lot of the custom guys don't like other types of cars to show up to the shows. So like there was like a few shows that came up where it's like, this is just for customs. Lowriders aren't allowed.
Okay.
And, it causes some rivalries. It causes, but, there's those things where it's like, this is the type of show that it is. And,
we appreciate your interest, but it just doesn't fit in this show.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to come and enjoy the event, but, to be featured in it is something completely different.
Yeah.
I can imagine because I know, right, car shows, y'all guys have like that pre-59 or pre-63 on some of y'all shows. And then here comes a dude in like a 75 Camaro and you're like,
That was one of my biggest, like, pet peeves with how big Lone Star Roundup got.
Yeah.
And I do like going to Lone Star Roundup. I've enjoyed that show almost since the beginning. Now, I wasn't there in the beginning when it was on the football fields and all of that. But, I've enjoyed going to Lone Star Roundup. And over the years, it got super popular.
Yes.
And it kind of took this turn where it seemed, not that it was, but it seemed that...
To the people that go to Roundup, please don't get offended by this.
No, because we still go to Roundup.
We do
love
Roundup.
Still,
I was like, we do love it.
We still participate. But, I was, it seemed like it was a money grab because it's $50 to enter your car.
Is it really?
It's $50
Is it now?
to park your car inside. And that's fine. I paid it. Here, $50. Here you go. And then I parked. That year I had the 59 Plymouth. I parked my Plymouth and about 4 cars down. And Lone Star Roundup has always been like a pre-63 show or pre-62 show. And like 3 cars down from me was like a 70s Cadillac.
oh, wow.
And I was like, that's cool, but it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
The criteria. No, I agree because I went to Lone Star Roundup. I started at the first one in the football field with the wedding on the trailer.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
The second one was Riverside, and I would go to them, and they were great. They were the early ones. And then I think the last one, people were like enraged when they went from Lone Star beer to Budweiser.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
People
yeah.
were like, that's the last one I went to. And you're right. We used to pay like $20 to like park your motorcycle. They were really cool about it.
Yeah.
$20. And then, I heard it was like $50 and some people are saying
Now
it's
it's
going to
just
go up.
getting even crazier. Now it's getting to be, and there's nothing wrong with it. We're not saying anything's wrong with it, but what I've definitely taken from it is that it's become more pristine looking cars. And when I first started going, you saw everything. You saw jalopies, you saw rat rods, you saw full, original cars. And it was so cool. And now I feel that, it's kind of getting away from that. And so it's like, oh, if you have something different, everyone's going to look at you like, why did you come? And it's like, that shouldn't be it. It's just section, where they should be.
No, you're right. Like in the old days, it was great. You had like great builders. You had projects that were barely finished. You would see these guys bring their stuff from out of town. In fact, that they drove it like from Dallas, Houston, out of town, out of state. You're like, oh, wow. And then the last couple of times, you're right. It's been show cars. It's been like things you can't touch.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
We were talking about getting sketchy, right? So one year I took a 58 Biscayne.
Okay.
And overheated. Everything I ever drive overheats. And it always overheats at the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess
in
I got
line.
that. I get
in line
I
to
get
check
that.
in.
You know, I got that going for me.
Yep.
So it overheats at the show, and of course, you know that line is like a mile long of cars coming in, right? So I've got the gawkers, the guys walking by, going, "Hey, you're leaking shit." You know, it's like, yeah, no shit, get out of the way so I can park this thing, and then you know, so it overheats. I parked that Biscayne, and I mean, it was rough too. It was like black and white, and all the paint was chipping on it, and the chrome was like, you know, not all great. And it was a 4-door, and it was a straight 6 car, tree on the tree.
Oh, you're just asking for trouble now.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. So like, I parked it right next to like all of these lowriders that had like
I remember you told me that.
paint jobs, and like they would have gotten into magazines if my car wasn't.
If your car wasn't there in the middle of the photo shoot. That's so
You
cool.
woke up and chose violence that night.
Yeah, wow. That's so crazy.
So I park it right now. I'm like pissed off, and the car's all hot and shit. And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm parked. I'm done. I'm just gonna enjoy the show. I'll come back and deal with this later." So deal with it. What happened was my belt flew off and was in the fan.
In the fan.
So I realized that when I opened the hood, and was like, all right, well, let's see what's going on. Oh, that's what's going on. You know? And so we get that fixed, and a few folks helped me out. My buddy Mojo was there. He went and grabbed coolant for me, and we got the radiator filled back up, and we were back on the road. And talking about sketchy, coming home after Roundup in that car, hauling ass.
Oh, wow.
And for a straight 6 car, that thing would move. So I think, you know, the guy that had it before me, he had done some things with, you know, he put a different carburetor on and different intake system. So it could pick up some speed quick. And hauling ass home on 35, I start seeing that the traffic's backing up.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's downshift and you know, slow up a little bit. I let off the gas, and the car doesn't let off.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, shit. So my passenger, I'm looking at him, and I'm just cruising. And my passenger's like, oh, this is cool. And I was like, yeah,
just wait for the
I'm
end.
going to need you to reach down between my legs. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm going to need you to grab the gas pedal because it has come off of the linkage.
Oh,
and
nice.
Grab that linkage. And when I throw this thing in neutral and it revs the fuck up, I'm going to need you to pull as hard as you can. Well, he did. Pulled the linkage right off the carburetor.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So then I was like, now I got no gas at all. Now I went from everything to nothing.
Nothing.
And coasted off the highway into an exit and parked it at the Cabela's in Buda.
Nice.
And it sat there for 7 hours trying to get this thing fixed. And I met some great people. But yeah, we were talking about sketchy shit coming home from Roundup. It's been sketchy.
I'm surprised you didn't switch to motorcycles after that. So when that happened, because I'm telling you, man, that's why I did, like I was telling you earlier, I did cars. I did them for a long time, you know, when I was in my teenage years, early 20s. And then one day, like the motorcycles, and then more motorcycles. Then I'm like put in the garage with extra motorcycles because I just want to learn how to work on them. And like everybody, you know, you have 5 and only 1 runs. That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
How many bikes you got in the garage right now?
I have 3.
3?
2 good working. One's my chopper project, which is like, you know what, I decided this past year in COVID, like everybody else, like I'm gonna take on a project. We're gonna do this.
Hey, I know people who built transmissions in their living room.
Yeah.
Had nothing better to do.
Yeah, so I said,
shout out to Chris Niederkram.
That's the way to do it.
In the dark.
In the dark, they had no power.
No power.
Yeah, they had candlelight and shop manuals.
It happened during the snow. He was we tried to figure it out, so we just brought it all in the living room, just started building.
Yeah, no, I have a chopper, 1966 Triumph T100. Ooh. Yeah, rigid frame, everything. I got it from a guy who lives not that far from here, real nice dude, friend of a friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's all like, I got to get it going. He's all, you got $400? I said, sure, why not? And it wasn't like anything great. You know, it was like, here's the frame, here's the front end, here's the wheel, You put it together. Do your
Here's
thing.
one wheel.
That's exactly what Todd was talking about when he built his truck. He's like, I started off with a cab and a rear end.
Yep, that's about right. That's called building in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on. I have it in the garage. I have it on the lift right now, and I put a front end. I put another wheel, so in case you guys are wondering.
Woo!
Yeah, and I have the motor on the table next to it. It's a Triumph. That's going to be like my first like real old Triumph that I've put together. I've done newer ones. I've done Harley Davidsons as well.
Yeah.
Harleys are easy. They're like just glorified tractors. That's what they are. Like the motors. If people on Harley Davidson are listening, fight me. Right? Because that's what they are.
Change my mind.
Yeah, change my mind because that's all they are. If anybody will tell you, like a Harley Davidson's just glorified like tractor because carburetors on the outside, all that stuff, you're just easy to fix.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So since it is like a custom, show and all that, we absolutely appreciate you coming on and talking bikes with us because we haven't explored that realm yet. And we have several folks that have brought it up, and I've shared your bike night flyers and stuff.
That.
We've gotten
Thank you
people,
guys.
hey, y'all gonna be out there, and it's like our schedule always falls on do we have anything going on with the family, or can we travel on the road? And it's like we just haven't lined it up.
No, it's understandable.
May 22nd.
May 22nd. Yeah, we'll be at the Lighthouse Lounge. We'll go back. We'll have more show bikes. We do get a lot of like show bikes, stuff that people fix in their garage that put out just so they could display. Yeah. And you're welcome to bring any bike, as long as you ride out there. It doesn't matter. Just not a bicycle. Yeah, just not a bicycle. We just got to pull the plug.
Yeah. So the custom couple is free that day. It looks like we might be.
Go to Lighthouse Lounge. Go enjoy it. That'll be actually our real big Saturday show. We just had one on a Friday, and I think before that we did one with lowriders.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We've been really down there. The people at Lighthouse are so nice, and the lowrider community has really reached out, and they say, "Hey, do you want to do something together?" Yeah. And it works out pretty good in our favor because, well, who doesn't like lowriders?
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I was going to ask you that. Like, what's the parking situation there? Like, if like some old hot rods show up, are you able to park them?
Yeah, we encourage cars at all of our bike night. If you got an old car, bring it out. Once again, if you have a 74 or 77 Camaro, please leave it at home. Or park down the street.
I'm going to bring out the hot rock.
Yeah, we like the really old cars because that's what we're into. We all grew up around that. No offense to you. You have a Camaro, right? Everybody in the Camaro.
Dad, you cannot come.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a valid point, though, because, San Antonio's car culture, there's enough things going on that involve muscle cars, and there's enough things that involve Corvettes. Oh, yeah. And, if you have an event that, you're trying to put on, you want custom cars out there, you want custom bikes out there and stuff like that, like some people just got to realize, like, you can't drive your muscle car everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's just as bad as when we went to Caliente and you see all these damn old hot rods and cars, and then you see a 2019 Corvette.
Yes.
Right in the middle. And you see all these photographers trying to like get away and take the pictures of the other cars.
Yes, that is so true.
That was like the most frustrating thing. I was like, that sucks. I was like, we can't. And I remember I tried taking pictures of the cars around. I couldn't because I couldn't get a good angle. And I was like, really? Like, you can park it somewhere else. Like, you see what's around here.
That's why I love that meme. It's like, my mama said you can't come because your car club looks like regular ass traffic.
I saw that one. That's so rad. Yeah, we were like that with the bikes, but now we're cool. We're letting like all the bikes just show up. I mean, just try to at least do a little something to your bike. But
we got some guys in our car club that also ride bikes,
which is fun.
So yeah, they I'm sure they'd love to all cruise out and bring the bikes out.
Encourage. We tell everybody, and we've also have worked with car clubs. I think we helped. A year ago, we helped at Texas Independence. We did.
Nice.
We did 2 Get Down Invades Texas Independence. So we had a crowd just for bikes.
Very cool.
Yeah, because I said, hey, how about the bikes? And a lot of people ask, like, what's with the bike nights? Like, why do you do the bike nights? And it's just because we love cars. We know cars are important. Yeah. That's why I tell people, like, they're very important value to what we do. But the motorcycles always get overshadowed.
They do.
They do. You go to a car show, all the motorcycles have to park in one little spot, or they park in the front. Mm-hmm. And all the shows, and Matt, all the shows in town were just car shows for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't until something like Giddy Up when we were talking about where it became that was bikes, and that's it. You know?
Oh yeah.
And then now we're pushing it to where we're doing bike night, but we are inviting like the old cars. Like we'll get lowriders, we'll get old cars, we'll get whatever is cool as long as it's just kind of like pre-65 because we think that's just what we like.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody has their preference.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the really cool thing I love about our car club is we've got a ton of members right now, and like we include both, you know, cars. We go all the way up to 72 because a couple of the guys in the club, they've got some muscle cars that they actually take out to the track and race.
Oh,
so like we've got like that going for us. But then we've also got several guys in the club that all ride their motorcycles together.
That's so awesome.
And, you know, having that you know, variable there, like it kind of gets you included in things.
Yes.
Like bike nights on May 22nd.
Yeah, May 22nd to get a bike. Yeah, like I said, even if you show up in your car, it's cool. And we are right by Woodlawn Lake. So we usually get all of the people that cruise around that Woodlawn Lake.
Yeah.
Hence how we've been getting a lot of lowriders.
I was going to say, because they all hang out over there.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot. And it's been pretty cool. Like they'll pull up. They'll be like, oh, this is cool. Like I see this. Like, and of course you get the thumbs up. Who doesn't get the thumbs up? You know?
Exactly.
It works.
So shout out to the Dead Texans. We may have an event to go to.
Yeah.
Because we'll go to, when we went to, where was it? We went to, what was that show in the parking lot? It was Pig Stand. It was at Pig Stand, right?
Oh, yeah. We went to one of the little Friday night cruise nights.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of little bikes out there, and then we've had cruises where we just go out with the club, and, you know, the bikes will be the leaders, and then the cars will be in the back. Oh, yeah, that's the one cool thing about, I say, our car club is that we're a motor club. We have everything and anything, so it's kind of cool that, you know, we switch it up, and we have the guys on the bikes, and then we have the cars, too, so it's like, yeah.
And you know what, like, a big convenience with having that, too, is, like, we did the Meals on Wheels for Thanksgiving. I went and hung out with the guys, and the guys that were on bikes, they were going like ahead of the pack.
Yes.
And stopping at the four-way stops, so all of the cars can just take the four-way stop, and then, you know, they were stopping traffic for us, and, you know, having that kind of a plan ahead, you know, and being able to do things like that. You know, there's a lot of convenience there.
It's convenient. It's beneficial. We did something similar like that when we did our Christmas toy drive. We teamed up with Lighthouse, with Good Kind, and a couple of lowrider clubs and like car clubs. And they had us in there. We, you know, we blocked off traffic. We let people go through, and so we can weave in and out of traffic.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, and it was fun. You know, we did one of those drive-by things.
Hell yeah. Always drive-bys in southwest side of town.
Yeah, not those kind. Not those kind. I tell you, man,
We don't advise those here.
Yeah, please. You saw hugs, not drugs. I just saw a billboard for that the other day. I was like, who's gonna really put that out there? Like,
somebody still is.
Yeah,
somebody's putting crazy ass billboards between here and Austin.
Are they?
It's funny, man. Like,
I haven't ridden up that way in a while.
Dude, we've had to take several trips up to Austin in the last few months.
Yeah.
And between here and Austin, there's somebody paying money for them billboards, and they're putting up some weird shit, man.
Yeah, we ride our motorcycles the back way, so we don't see any of that. But now I kind of want to see it. Because I've seen some wacky billboards out there. And then when you're riding a bike, it's kind of funny because I don't know if y'all could do it if y'all see it in cars, but when you ride a motorcycle, you can always look to the right and left and you can see what people are doing in their cars. You see hardcore, like, people singing. You see people reading books of all things.
What?
Yeah, I've seen everything you could think of. It's unbelievable. Like, you're doing that, and then people turning to look at you and not even facing traffic. You're like, you're going to get hit. And of course, you know, the people who like to pull out their phones and record you while you're riding.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I'm like, come on, man! Like, save your battery.
Yeah, we've gotten that in the old cars.
Yeah,
and Todd was talking about that too on the last podcast. He had a guy following him for like 80. Like, he was doing 80 miles an hour and still had this guy following him.
Wow.
Yeah, go listen to that episode. Sure. Todd's a hoot.
Yeah, we have that too. We're on bikes. There's a group of us. We're just going, and they see us like ripping. And you know, you have older bikes or you just have custom bikes.
Yeah.
In general, you're like ripping by, and then here comes this person, and you're like, I think I just left them in the dust. They're hard charging towards you, and they have their phone out, and you're like, please don't hit me. Don't
hit me.
Yeah. They get in your lane, like they start getting closer, and it's like, no, like It's cool. Like if you want a picture, like we'll pull over and whatever. Like we're not that cool. We're popular. Like, trust me.
You know, if you're in the passenger side, go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're driving a car, please don't be filming people while you're trying to drive.
Exactly.
That's so scary.
And then you see them at the gas station and they pull over and they're like, "Oh, I like your bike. I had one just like it." And you're like, "Oh, like it?" And he saw, "No, it was a Honda, and it was like it had like the fairing, and it was like a like a sport bike." I was like, "That's not like anything like it." People always want to tell you what they had, which is not like it.
I had a bike too. Really? Yeah, it was a bicycle.
Exactly.
I attached a lawnmower engine on it. It was great.
With the cars, somebody probably like, You could have like what y'all have, like a Thunderbird, and you have a Model A, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I have something like it. It's a Nova."
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, like
all the time. Oh man, it's come up a lot, but yeah, you're getting gas.
Yep.
Filling up, and you get this guy walk up and be like, "I had one just like this. It was a 1965 Mustang." Every Mustang owner in the world wants to talk about the fucking Mustang.
Oh my God, that was as bad as when we went to the gas station and we met up with Alex, and he had a Mustang. He's like, "Yeah, my dad's into old cars too. He has one just like yours." We're like, "Oh, cool. What kind of hot rod did he have?" He has a 65 Mustang. Where does that even come in with that?
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh my God. And if you're a Mustang owner, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry that I said that. I'm sorry that you're a Mustang owner.
Can I have this question with you guys?
Yeah.
The Mustang. First off, because I'm not a Mustang guy, but I was talking to my buddy about it because he has a Mustang, and he got like a 65, 66. I was like, "That's not the one you want." And he was like, "What do you mean that's not the one you want?" I said, "You want the 67 through like 70. That's the man's Mustang. No offense, but the 65 to 66 is like the girl's Mustang. They love those, but the man's Mustang is like 68, 69.
Yeah, when they went to a fastback.
Yeah, the fastback, right.
They had more power under the hood.
And I guess nobody gets those. People just want to get the 65, 66.
They think because they just see it everywhere, they think that that's the iconic one, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all.
But see, and I mean, if you're going to stop listening to this podcast because we've droned on about Mustangs, I am so sorry. But,
sorry.
There's probably
we'll go
another
back to
podcast.
There's
probably another
What do you want
podcast.
to know about bikes? Let it rip.
Like to me personally, like whenever I heard Mustang, I always thought of like the mid 90s Mustangs that every 16-year-old girl got for her birthday.
The one that Vanilla Ice came in?
Oh yeah, the Fox bodies, like the late 80s
That's
Fox
what I
bodies.
think of.
Yeah, no, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, neither am I. So you're safe. If you bash them, the Mustang community might come after you.
They might.
I only have to worry about the Hondas and motorcycles that have nothing to do with any of that.
But you know what's good about the Mustang community coming after you?
Yeah.
You'll hear them because they all sound like shit.
Oh.
And on top of that, they won't make it to you because they're going to be spinning out into a crowd somewhere.
Oh.
I got my Mustang jokes in. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I just said, like, I told him, and he was all, got really offended. He was all like, "What do you mean the 67 through 70 is the man's Mustang? I'm just telling you what I saw, all right?" He's all, "That's what girls get on the, like, for a present. Come on, man."
Mm-hmm.
As he put on his satchel.
As he put on his satchel. And
Excuse me.
he's all, "That's a purse." He's
It's a man bag.
right?
Yeah, no. Bikes.
Yeah, no, we can talk about motorcycles. They're fun.
Cars. Food.
Exactly. We got motorcycles, we got cars, but mainly we do motorcycles. And if you guys are into them, I mean, they're dangerous, yeah. But what isn't?
What
right?
isn't dangerous?
Yeah, think about it. Like anything is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the great Burt Monroe said it best for y'all guys is you probably live like 10 minutes on one of those motorcycles more than you do 10 years in a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you have a sketchy car like yours.
That was Fastest Indian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was right.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
They did a good job with that movie.
Yeah, when you think about it, you're like, he's right. Like, you know what? You ride the bike, you're out there free. You don't have seatbelts. You don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, once you're on it, you're just on it. And that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's living right there.
Oh, yeah. I tell everybody, like, we rip 70 miles. We can do 80 miles. We can do 100. And then we're going through hill countries. We're doing group rides. So we're in a big group. There's people in the front, the back. We're stopping lights. We're passing traffic. Some people like it. Some people don't. It depends, on what side you're on. I mean, the cars, they hate it because, they want to go home. But boom, we pull up right in the middle of the intersection. And the light's red. And they're like, this dude's not moving. and then all of a sudden, they see the wave of the cars like coming through. Or then after that, they'll see like the bikes. And they're like, oh, No wonder he was holding traffic.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do these group rides, and they've been fun. And those will actually come back in either mid-May or June.
Okay.
We'll be doing those, yeah. I decided we're going to bring them back. We have to kind of do them in the hot months because for some reason in the early part of the year here, it rains like crazy on the days when you want to do events.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we know that one.
Yeah.
We know that one too well. Let's throw some shout outs to some folks. So,
sweet.
Who do you want to shout out to that's been helping you along the way?
Oh, you know what? That'd be easy. Other than Boogeyman Joe, who we gave him a shout out earlier. But we have local custom builders here in town that just don't get enough recognition. And I'm telling you guys, like, y'all don't have to go to Harley Davidson. Y'all don't have to go to Alamo Cycleplex. If y'all want to do something cool, there's some guys around town. Shout out to Zeke at Knockabout Cycles, the whole gang. This dude has a unbelievable shop out of his garage. I have my buddy Nick Jacobs at Dumluck Garage. He does it out of his garage, does phenomenal choppers. There's something like that. Eric Johnson with the Triumphs.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Joey
Big Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Joey Connor with Slabside, the paint, like that's unbelievable, the paint that he does. And then my good buddy down south, y'all might not know him. His name is Omar at Rowdy House. He has Rowdy House Customs down there. He's right by the beach. He's phenomenal. He puts up some killer events. If y'all guys are ever wanting to ride down there, do it. If you go in a car, you just missed a group ride, but you can go to bike night. He has it. It's always good.
Awesome, man. Sam, do you have some shout outs you want to give to some folks right now?
No, I'll go to you for that. I didn't
about
think
everybody
about
on the
I was like, I didn't think about that.
She didn't think of it. There's nobody out there for her.
You're all Terminator 2. He was on a motorcycle. That's the only person.
Oh, man. Oh, that scene is the best, though. Epic when he's going through the ditch and he's cocking the shotgun one-handed. Oh, that scene is epic. Absolutely.
I've met so many people who
Lou even thinks so.
With motorcycles that fell in love with motorcycles because of that scene. They're like, they saw it when they were a kid. They were like, oh wow.
Right. And John Connor on the little dirt bike.
They're like, that's what I want to do. He's all ride through ditches and kill cyborgs.
Hell yeah. I mean, what better way to spend 1996?
Was it that long ago?
Dude, wow. I don't know. I was guessing, but I think it was.
Wow, it's predated.
Oh, I know. But I'd like to definitely give some shout outs to the guys in our car club that have come over and put in some time. This past week, we had Sam's Thunderbird just undergo some massive amounts of work, and the guys were just sweating it out in the sun. It was hot this weekend.
It's hot.
They were Ty, if you're listening to this, you freaking rock, man. I mean, they did some phenomenal work for us, and then we spent about 20 minutes working on my car, and but we found out what's going on with it. Okay. So that was the key to it. So
we didn't blow up.
We didn't catch on fire.
I didn't catch on fire.
Yeah, well, that's what friends in a community is all about. And I totally understand that, and I appreciate that so much. Like, at least you guys got like friends that come and help you ride a bike. Like, I got buddies that come to the garage, just sit there, drink beer, and hold a tire.
Hell yeah!
And
Slade.
I love it.
Slade.
Yeah.
Shout out to Slade.
I'm like, cool. I got somebody to talk to.
Shout out to. I guess I'd have to shout out to my mom and my stepdad, Jesse, because, I definitely had an interest in bikes. And now speaking with you, now I definitely want to go to some of your shows and go out for those nights and kind of see because I don't know, maybe I'll get on a bike. I kind of am tempted to.
That's what I tell everybody. Like, you really will. I mean, the motorcycles are they're fun. And they're like smaller cars, so they're easier for you to fix.
Absolutely. All right. Well, shit. Let's
I got one more.
She's got one more.
Just one more, because I was like, let me look real quick. Shout out to the Mountain Bitch, the people that I buy shirts from for you all the time.
That I can't wear anywhere.
You can't wear anywhere because they're super offensive, but they're really awesome. And he actually does have some shirts. I'll have to show you, probably when we're after this. But he makes some really cool shirts, and he does here. Look, I'll show you this one. It says "Take It Sleazy."
That is so cool.
And it's he does a lot of artwork with bikes on it. And I've spoken with him a couple of times, and he actually has 2 Harleys of his own.
Nice.
And that's kind of where he came up with the idea of it. And he does like the Harley Davidson like outline, but then he puts his custom logo in it. So he does some really cool stuff, and he likes bikes himself, and I just thought that was so cool. So okay, if you want to check him out, he's on Instagram. He makes really cool shirts, but they are very vulgar, so just know that.
Oh, cool. I most definitely look at that. Everybody who I shouted out is on Instagram, so you can find them there.
Awesome.
And the 2 will get down. Go there, people. Y'all see what's going on.
Awesome. So, folks, if you are listening to this on Apple, please go and give us a 5-star rating and a review because it helps us out a bunch. If you're listening to on any of the channels, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, should be up soon. Go on there and follow us, subscribe. All those numbers help our metrics go towards us possibly getting funding for this at some point. And it's just cool to see, like, hey, you got a bunch of fucking followers. Oh, yeah. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you see us in public, follow us.
Around.
Unless you're in a Mustang. We found that out. Or a mid-70s Camaro.
Exactly.
You know. But yeah, definitely follow us on everything that we've got going on because it's really awesome seeing everybody post up and especially the folks that are listening to the podcast. I know not everybody that's following us on social media is listening, but it's really cool when people send me messages or comment on stuff that was talked about in the podcast. Nice. I really appreciate all of the support that we're getting from the South Texas local scenes, San Antonio scene, and then nationwide, we're getting a lot of support. Worldwide, we're getting a lot of support. So we really dig it. And, see you next Tuesday.